Okay, I'm going to. The July 17th meeting, the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust will be in order. And the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the July 3rd meeting.
Move approval. Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes. Are there questions, comments, corrections, additions? Hearing none, voting please. Minutes are approved. Next item is the consent docket.
Move the consent docket subject to individual consideration. Second.
Motion and a second on the consent docket. Subject to individual consideration. Several matters. Any of them to be talked about separately?
Well, I have a question, Mr. Chairman. It seems like some of these are very inexpensive. It said estimated construction cost $500,000. I didn't think we could do anything for that. And here we have 5,000 feet of 8-inch line we're rehabilitating. We have 640 feet of 15-inch relief main for only $750,000. Are those the right numbers?
Yes.
They seem very low compared to what we see in some of the others.
Yes. We work to put out a variety. We try to size jobs so that a variety of contractors can do them, and so some you'll see in a smaller range, and others you'll see it more typically $1 million. But we're looking for a mix of contractors who can do the work, and there's always a logical area for a project as well, and that does sometimes make the project smaller.
Well, congratulations. I'm not complaining about low cost. This seems so low compared to other things we do.
But we've been getting very good prices, and that's a part of planning the work and working with the contractors to make certain we have adequate bidding at the time, which we can't always do, and although we're well intentioned. We have a couple of projects going on that I'd like to draw your attention to. The item 3D is plans and specifications for a sewer siphon that goes under the Oklahoma River. We will be coordinating with Public Works and MAP staff as well as the Oklahoma River Foundation people because there's such an exciting amount of recreational activity and economic activity going on in the river these days. We're looking for the right window to construct the project, looking at pursuing incentive definition, which will bring you probably at your next meeting. Look for ways to get the work under the river done as quickly as possible. It's a necessary project to get sewer flows from South Oklahoma City over to the North Canadian treatment plant.
Any other comments or questions about the consent docket? Hearing none, voting please. Consent docket's approved. Next item is the concurrence docket. There are two items.
Move approval subject to individual consideration.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the concurrence docket. Do we need to discuss any of them individually?
Just a question, Mr. Chairman, on number 4B. It's one where we reduce the final claim to reflect liquidated damages. Do all our contracts have liquidated damages clauses in them?
Yes.
Thank you.
And we owe you a report that you requested at your last meeting about the cost for generally relocating and total cost to us when we're working with streets, and that's in the works but not complete yet.
Thank you.
Any further questions on the concurrence docket? Hearing none, voting. Concurrence docket's approved. Next item is item 5. There are several matters to be considered individually. The first is item 5A, a resolution for revenue bond underwriter services.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the proposal. Comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer questions. Colby Eccles, our representing PFM, our financial advisor, is with us today. If you have questions of the financial advisor, and Brett Weingart, of course.
When do you think this might take place?
Actual sale, we think mid-October.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, voting please. 5A is approved. Next item is item 5B. It's a resolution appointing Terry Ash to the Draper Lake Development Architectural Review Committee.
Move approval.
Motion and a second to approve. Comments? Voting, please. Resolution's approved. Next item is a resolution ratifying the action of the general manager concerning consent order with regard to a unauthorized discharge, or unpermitted discharge from Draper Treatment Plant, right?
In May of 2011, our sludge lagoon at Draper lost water. The pump would not keep up with the volume of water we were putting in. We are hiring an engineer to replace that pump. We'll have that design done. We have installed a temporary pump in the meantime while we replace the permanent pump. And unfortunately, the discharge was unpermitted and carries with it a small fine. I apologize.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve item 5C. Further comments? Hearing none. Voting, please. 5C is approved. Item 5D, authorizing the issuance of water bonds to refund previous bonds.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve item 5D. Other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, we would be happy to have Mr. Eccles answer questions about the proposed refunding. PFM's analysis found roughly a savings of $600,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And Colby, would you like the key measures for refunding that would cause you to recommend such an action?
Current market conditions, the current market rates are at an all-time low right now. They're at historical lows or within a few basis points, a few percentage points of being at all-time lows. That has allowed us to locate this refunding, offering considerable savings to the trust. As Ms. Lawler mentioned, $600,000 per year, approximately 12% of refunded par.
How long will it take you to get the project ready to refinance the bonds? Excuse me. How long will it take you to get the process in place to do the actual refinancing?
We will start tomorrow with a timetable. We will distribute that to staff. We anticipate pricing these bonds late September, early October.
Is there any way to lock in those rates now?
No, sir, unfortunately.
Will the refunding permit, will the period of the bonds be the same, or are we extending the time?
We are
for
not
that?
extending. It should shorten it very minutely based on the lower interest rates that we anticipate.
Okay, no spike at the end or anything like that? Okay.
We anticipate level savings across the entire amortization of the existing bonds.
Any other questions, comments? We have a motion? We have a motion and a second to approve. Voting, please. Item 5D is approved. Item 5E is an executive session concerning the matter of PSG.
Mr. Chairman,
Subco.
staff does not recommend an executive session today. We had hoped to have information that's not quite ready.
All right. I have a motion to strike.
Second.
A motion and a second to strike item 6E. Voting, please. Item stricken. Item 6F, executive session concerning the water lawsuit. Do we need
Yes, please.
Second.
a motion and a second to move this matter to executive session? Voting, please. We'll do that at the heel of the docket. We'll go on to item 6, is item from trustees. Are there comments from trustees?
Just a question, Mr. Chairman. In the utility business, reduction in peak demand or shifting peaks is really important. Is the same philosophy hold true in water systems?
Yes. There are, as we look at options, a key issue for us last summer was being able to meet peak demand. We made pumping improvements, plant improvements to help us meet peak hour demand. But that's what you're seeing when we're asking, typically when we're asking people to conserve and getting stringent about it, it's because of peak hour.
Has there been consideration given to some kind of economic penalty or reward for shifting your peak or organization or individual's peak usage from the time that it would impact our demand factors?
No, sir. Some utilities are able to do that. Our meters are not automated. We're pursuing metering, electronic metering through the SCADA contract that you approved today for our largest customers, so that might be possible in the future. But basically, the water meter is running on the thrust of the water, and it's a remarkable enhancement for utilities to have smart meters. The utility industry has them available, the water utility industry has them available and is not yet using them for that purpose, although I see it coming.
Thank you.
Any other comments from staff, trustees? I have a request I'd like the staff to make. In the past, I've talked about the fact that the city does not pay, or the trust does not pay ad valorem taxes at Lake Atoka. And while the federal government pays taxes at Sardis and also pays a fee, actually a fee in lieu of ad valorem taxes at both Sardis and McGee Creek, I'd like for us to look at the cost of doing that and a mechanism for us to do it at Lake Atoka. And using the federal model, they have a model of how they compute what they owe. And it's my understanding that it's not that expensive, but the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that when we have facilities in a county that's as financially strapped as Atoka County is, we just have we have a moral obligation to not avoid the ad valorem tax on all that land that we use for that lake. It won't matter much to each one of our individual water users, but I think it might make a significant difference in the schools there. So.
Yes, sir. We'll bring you a report.
Okay. Any other items from trustees? Next item is the general manager reports. The first one is water system weather conditions response.
This is my error. I apologize. The report was not ready, and please strike.
You'll have it on next time.
That I am absolutely. But
go ahead.
Go ahead. In the family of reports about stall rentals, we have 9 boats that appear to have been abandoned, and we will be pursuing impoundment of those through the process that you've already authorized. Finally, FGIC has been called to a show cause hearing. They're involved in funding the reserve on our 2004 bonds. Your bond counsel is not gravely concerned about this, but it is an issue and we're pursuing it.
Are there any other matters under this topic? If not, are there citizens to be heard? We don't have anyone signed up. If not, we're going to retire into executive session and we'll be back to adjourn.